All right. Oh, gosh, I'm caught. All right. Welcome to a Sunday night edition of Talking Iowa Hawkeye Sports Podcast. We are live. We are here. We missed Wednesday night. Unfortunately, we had a good show planned. We'll sneak some of that into tonight's show. But the two guys that wanted to plan some of the other stuff, they're not available on the show tonight. So, next time they're available, we're going to do some of the stuff they wanted to do. Guys, I would like to ask you, while we're at the beginning of this show, and you're beginning, what things would you like to see us do this off season now that the draft is over, spring football's over? Would you like to see some us follow the Iowa women on the WNBA this summer? Things like that, or would you like to like do something fun like rank the rankings of the football team, each position, rank them 1 to 10 or 1 to 9? I guess there's 9. Things like that. I mean, I'm kind of curious. I mean, I want to keep this show going all summer, and sometimes, you just don't have enough content during the summer months to, keep a good flowing show. And so, just in the comments, just tell us some of the things that you would like to see on this show. We're going to try to line up some interviews. I've got one I was told I could get. I just have to get it done. I haven't done that. And I have another one I was told I could get. And I just have to set that one up with Molly. Yeah, Kelvin and Kyle are going to help me set up another one that they know of a guy. And I'm not going to name his name yet. So yeah, he said he would come on the show. He would love to help out. And so, so we got 2 guests lined up. I just have to make sure Molly can come on with one of them. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, we're just like, and is there any particular guest you guys want us to realistically shoot for that we could get on this show? I mean, we're not, Chad Lysico or Tom Kakirk or Scott Dockerman or even Matt Randazzo, who can get all these great people on his show. But if there's somebody you think we realistically can get, we've had several people. We've had Callie Levine. We've had Shanda Berry. We had former assistant coach Angie Lee. We've had Molly Tideback. We've had Steve Kratzison on here. I can't remember who else we've had on here, but we've had a laundry list of people we've interviewed on here, and they've been pretty good shows. And so I especially wish we could get a part 2 with Steve Kratzison because, we had to cut that show off, and he was just getting to the meat of some good stuff. So I think tonight, as the headline says, Robert Gallery by Terry says, bring in Robert Gallery.
That probably wouldn't be very easy.
That one might cost us.
Wow. Yeah. I would, if I had my dreams, I'd get Tyler Barnes in here because I love the way he answers questions because he tells the truth about how each guy is looking. Yeah. Who's looking really good, and you can't get Kirk answers those questions, but you ain't gonna get Kirk, but a lot of the other assistant coaches just say, "Oh, they all look good," But
yeah, if I make it to Iowa this summer, either for the Iowa State game or the Northern Iowa game, I'm going to walk right up to Kirk's house. I'm going to have Brandon show me where it's at, and I'm just going to go knock on Kirk's door. Knock, knock, Kirk. I got a podcast. I would love for you to join the show tonight. We're going to put you on the spot. Kirk, I know you love to walk to the bar and have some beers after the game. Let's just walk over to the bar and get your beers. And
I think the best place to talk to Kirk would be at his football office. That's where he spends most of his time. So
yeah. Hey, this is funny that Terry Walker should say this. He suggested Iowa's hockey head coach. I actually did try to get him on the show. I sent him an email. He was talking about the team, and it is a club team. It's not an officially NCAA sanctioned team, but they're a pretty good darn hockey team. And I said, can we help you promote your show by bringing you on the show for an interview, and you can kind of promote the show a little, promote your team, you know. And so I'd never heard back from him. So
I bet the most active person on X and on the internet that I see that coaches at Iowa might be, so she might be pretty, is Lysandra Barrett, and she'd be great.
oh my gosh, yeah, we should work on getting that.
She's on there She's on there commenting all the time on X and on Instagram and all that stuff. But,
a lot of the current players and coaches, I have to go through a person named Bailey. I think the last name is Bailey Lee or something like that. And he's turned me down for everybody I tried. Terry says he will try to get him for us. Thank you, Terry. That would anybody, if you guys have any other connections to help us get some good interviews on here, if you know them, talk to them, get them on here, and just send me a private message.
But I truly don't think all summer we'll have any shortage of all this football recruiting that's going on, and basketball recruiting starts up now. You know, and the portal for the women, the portal for the women's probably going to go on for another month and a half.
Yeah, because we still need at least a minimum of 2, possibly 3 players,
and they will get them
for the women.
Today, just before I went on, the Iowa officially announced that Miss Faison, the paperwork had went through, and she was, officially on the roster now. So
okay, yeah.
All right.
T Hink says reach out to Man Randazzo. Hink was on the show that I did reach out to him, and he typed back that he would love to come on the show and help us out. Hink said at that time that you probably would have to facilitate that. Probably you or Kyle.
I know, and I thought, why is he saying me? I don't even know him. Kyle's the one that worked for. Kyle's the one that carried his camera around for him. Kyle get him on.
Yeah. There you
Kyle
go.
worked at the station filming high school games for him. So
yeah. Okay.
Terry's
asked me to inbox an email that he can send me a CC to, so that would be great. That would be great. I would love that, Terry. I'll do that right after the show.
And anyway, if we were really short, which we're never going to be short of information, and then people complain because we have a 2-hour show, if we're really short someday, we can say, hey, let's do the outlook for Michigan State football and predict every game for them this year. And you could go through the Big Ten teams doing that, But,
we're going to do that when the preseason magazines come out. I always grab the preseason magazines and I go each team, each Big Ten team by team, game by game, and I predict what I think their record will be, and then I composite my list of standings from that.
Yeah, I go by their depth charts that are already out from the R Lads thing. R Lads even puts out an Iowa depth chart, but it's a guess,
Yeah.
I just go through there and I click on each player. Most of these teams, more than half their starters are transfers.
Well,
so their roster changes from year to year. It's like, holy cow.
Yeah, I'm going to respond to that real quick. But Hink says, wait, Kyle that joins that show? Yes, that Kyle.
Yeah.
That's the Kyle that's on this show sometimes. And we're going to do our best to keep Rick and Kyle coming back to this show as much as we can. But Kyle's going into the summer months where he's got a lot going on, and I don't know if you guys know that, but he's getting married this summer. And so,
and then he covers like high school sports, like the summer sports for what is it, Mediapolis and
Mediapolis. Yeah, it's called the Dogcast. He does a live streaming show called the Dogcast. So he'll be doing that for probably baseball and softball for Mediapolis this summer. So he's going to be one busy dog, but hey, we appreciate it when we can get him on here.
I think I might be able to get Zach Heine on, and Zach is a very good young man that he does the what do they call it? Iowa Everywhere podcast. He works for Corey and he works for that Rogers guy. And it's every Thursday night at 6:00. Me and him have become very good, close friends, and so it might be
So I
able
mean,
with him.
so he does that other Iowa show on Rogers Network.
Yeah, I don't know if it's called.
Because I think T
College
Hink is
Football Today or something. I don't know what it's
okay.
called.
I just wondered if it was the same show that T Hink helps out on sometimes.
Me and T Hink are on that show quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the same one then. Yeah. Okay.
Tried to get T Hink on. Darn devil! All he wants to do is comment. He's really good.
Yeah. I've offered him to come on a couple times, but he's turned me down.
Yeah. I love working with him.
Hank, the invitation is always open, though. If you ever want to join us, we will not turn you down when you want to come on. Okay, let me get this real quick.
Any more questions, or we going on?
I think we're going to move on. Let's start with the football. You had some in-depth stuff you wanted to talk about, and
you want that first?
What's that?
You want that first?
Yeah, I want to go over that first.
Okay. I'm going to go in the order I got it written down so I don't get discombobulated. First of all, was the Vandenbergs had Gronk on, and he went through the whole season of being at Iowa. And he said, of course, he wasn't healthy. He let it loose that I wasn't healthy. And he said the bowl game, I was healthy. You know, my shoulder felt good and my knee was stable again. You know, but he said the first game, he had never played in that big a crowd, and it was first game at Iowa. And he said he was never so nervous in his life.
Really?
And, yeah. And he said he went back. Do you remember that pass that he threw like 3 yards short? You know, it was a simple hook pattern. And he threw it like 3 yards short, and everybody said, "What'd he do?" It looked like he short-armed it or something. He was funny. He said, so they had to punt the ball. He said he came over the sidelines, and Kirk ran over to him. He says, Did I just see a terrible pass on a simple hook pattern?" And Gronk goes, "Yes." And he goes, "How many," and he used cuss words, Kirk did. "How many gold darn hook passes have you thrown in your career?" And Gronowski said, "I don't know, including practice, probably 10,000. And he said, "I've never thrown one like that in my life." You know, so that was like, and then he said the second game, he said ISU came out. The ISU game, he said, again, the pressure was on him so bad, you know, and he said the ISU defense was a defense he had never seen anywhere before in his life. And he said should have won that game, you know, said should have won about all of them. And he was right. And then he said, we really did, I think, had one of the best teams in the nation this year. If I would have, you know, been up to my capabilities and been healthy and everything. And then Vandenberg chimed in and he said, well, this is the best Iowa team since 2015. Vandenberg played on it. But I bet you this team, you know, 2015, they went undefeated. And I really think this team would have beat 2015. 2015 just had an easy schedule.
Yeah,
you know, it's hard to call a Big Ten schedule easy, but you know what I mean, Dean. They weren't playing Ohio State and Penn State and whoever they're really.
And at that time, the rest of the West was dog poop.
Yeah, but they played more than the West. I can't remember the exact schedule, but they had a schedule like Penn State has this year. You know, an easy schedule. So anyway, that was the Gronk interview, and he said he lost some weight between the bowl game and now to just be a little quicker for the NFL, and said he was very disappointed he didn't get invited to the combine because he was invited last year, but he's feeling good about where he's going, to the Miami. And I bet he ends, I don't know if he'll end up with Miami, but I bet you he ends up on a practice squad or maybe a roster this year and stays in the NFL for a long time. So.
How many quarterbacks do they carry on the roster, not including the
Three.
practice quarterback? Three?
Usually three.
So is it the starter, the backup, and one on the practice squad, or number three? And then
usually I think they usually have 3 active roster quarterbacks. I could be wrong, but it's really not. Wouldn't be out of the ordinary to need your third quarterback in a game if disaster struck.
It's happened. Ask the San Francisco 49ers a few years ago when they had to go 3 deep, and that third person is now their starting quarterback.
Yeah. So, moving on to another thing was, of course, Jack Campbell's contract, the 4th year option. Is it the 4th year?
Yes.
The Lions opted not to do it, but I wouldn't worry. They just didn't want to pay the absorbent in the contract they were forced to pay for that year because, there's guys like Micah Parsons that are making $38 million a year. So I think Jack, as a middle linebacker, they don't make as much money. I think he'll end up signing an extension, for more of the $20 million a year over 4 years instead of the higher number.
That'll boil down to his. I was just going to say that'll boil down to his agent, how greedy his agent is, and how much the agent will.
Jack will make the decision. I know Jack Campbell's family and everything. If Jack loves playing there like he did at Iowa, he seems to love Detroit and being a Lion. I bet he'll take a little less money and tell the agent, "It's my decision, not yours."
Yeah. So Laporta and Campbell are both going into their 4th year with the Lions already. They've been out of Iowa that long. Wow.
That's the problem with the Lions is, as well as I knew, dude, Dean, you got to pay your quarterback a lot of money. They got about the best wide receiver in football, Saint whatever his name is, and he's making an incredible amount of money. You can't pay everybody. They got the best offensive tackle along with Wirfs, Penei Sewell. He's got to make close to $30 million a year. And then you got to realize the year Jack Campbell got drafted by the Lions, they drafted Jameer Gibson or whatever his name from Alabama, the running back, who is one of the best running backs. And then they got Laporta, who's one of the best tight ends. And they got Jack Campbell, who's arguably the best middle linebacker, and all of them, you got to pay them the same year. So somebody ain't going to get paid.
Yeah.
You can't afford them all. That's just the salary cap in football. Thing about Jack
wait a minute. What? They're going into their 3rd year. It's the 4th year that they've already decided not to do that for. They jumped ahead a year. Just like with Caitlin Clark, they jumped ahead a year on her too.
Not giving Jack that 4th year, all that does is make him a free agent to go around and make as much money as he wants to a year early.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's actually good for Jack as far as making more money.
Yeah,
if he wants it.
So what it is Jack is going into his 3rd year as a Lion. So I was right. He hadn't been gone for 4 years already.
Yeah, he's already got a contract for this year.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
and then the other thing about Jack is he's announced he's going to have a little boy. So then that's more important than anything else. So anyway.
Yes, and kids will always outshine you for.
And another interesting thing, I seen there's a big write-up about Ben McCollum and the Michigan coach. He says playing Ben in a basketball game is like playing football against Kirk Ferentz. They just make it difficult on you. So I thought that was a cute little thing. Of course, we know that Kirk has 101 draft picks now. Woody Hayes had 163. Bo Schembechler 123, but they had 17 to 24 rounds drafted back then. So Kirk is really blowed. Kirk is blowed by them, but officially not.
But what is crazy is that they actually had that many rounds back then. Can you believe that?
Well, I remember because I used to follow it. They had 17 rounds probably until 1988 or 90 or something.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, what did they do with all those players they drafted? Just cut them?
I think
the roster's that much bigger then.
Most of them didn't make it, but they had control of players. They like to have a lot of control of players. And back then there wasn't any free agency, so really less rookies made the team. When I was a little kid, you could name the Detroit Lions all their starters because they're the same starters for the last 8 years. Minnesota Vikings, you knew who the hell was the starters for the whole team. Every NFL team unless it was a crappy team. And then Kirk made the comment on that TV show, made a little jab at Cignetti. He said, yeah, us in Indiana. He didn't say the team. He said, yeah, another team that made the CFP playoffs. They had about the same number of draftees as we did in the Big Ten, but all ours were homegrown. He said only one of their players was an actual recruit. The rest of them were transfers. And that was a little. I'm sure Cignetti, he got a laugh out of that. Kirk mentioning that.
But you could hear Cignetti saying, "Kirk, who's won a national championship? Should I name names?"
Kirk said, "Should I name?" And then Kirk would say, "Should I name names of your billionaires?" Look at our depth chart where we have 3 transfers starting, and you have 18 out of 22. So then Kirk on that show, I'll continue on with that show. He talked about every position group. Really, he said the quarterbacks. He said it's just so even. Flip a coin. And he said, it's very early in the process. And he said, I would not doubt that we have different starters during the season at different times. And then the guy asked him, Doctorman asked him, how do you select a starter? And Kirk says, really, when it gets right down to it, when they're close, and he mentioned Beathard and Rudock, he said both of them were super college quarterbacks. Beathard wasn't super yet when he gave him the starting job, but he said, as a head coach and quarterback coach, you got to have a feeling about somebody. Does that guy lead the team down the field? Other than just looking at all the statistics and everything. And when he made Beathard the starting quarterback, Rudock had way the better season that year. Statistically.
Okay, so I want to say something though. Are you sure that Beathard being named the starting quarterback had nothing to do with his dad? Because remember, his dad said that.
I know his dad said they're leaving if he ain't starting.
But yeah, and then all of a sudden, Kirk did something he's never done before. He put it 2 deep out in January that included Beathard as the number 1 quarterback.
He named Beathard the number 1 quarterback.
Yes.
But if Kirk didn't think he was the number 1 quarterback, Kirk wouldn't have done that. Okay. Everybody knows Kirk. He's going to play the best player.
Yeah. Well, I think the fans were screaming for Beathard to be the starting quarterback too.
You think that had an effect?
Nope, not at all.
The answer to that is hell no.
Yeah.
But
I think his dad had something to do with it because remember his dad and grandpa are were deeply involved in the NFL.
Well, I know that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Grandpa's in the Hall. Bobby Beathard's in the Hall of Fame, and everything. I know that, but I'm telling you that obviously made Kirk think about who's the best guy. But Kirk said in that show, he said in December during bowl practice, he said you could see that it was clicking for Beathard was a year younger, and he said it was clicking for him, and he impressed us, and we just thought he's the guy that's coming on, and has it, which he did have it over Rudock, and Rudock was a good quarterback. You know, he went on to Michigan, and they asked Harbaugh, you know, what did you when Rudock come to Michigan, what kind of work did you do to get him to going? And he said, we didn't do a damn thing. We didn't really do much at all with him because he was ready. He knew all the defenses, he knew all the reads, he knew everything. You know, he was ready to play, and he was. Kirk also. So he just said the quarterback, which we all know that. There isn't any real question about neither one of them quarterbacks obviously sticks out over the other one. You know, wide receiver, the interesting comments about wide receiver group was they always mention these people that we've never seen play, you know, all these media people. Mm-hmm. And they go, what about Evan James and Diaz, the boogeyman? And Kirk just said, they're too damn skinny. And he said, you know, he said, they're too damn skinny. And he says, I'll guarantee you something about both of them. Before they got to Iowa, they never picked up a weight in their lives. And he said, that's what they're going to be doing all summer, is to get ready for the pounding you have to take. I mean, both of them missed the spring game because they're diving around catching passes, and they can't take that. What are they going to do when the hitting starts, Dean? You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to have a certain amount of bulk to you to play major college rough and tumble football. Then he went to I asked him the question about walk-ons, you know, on the show, and he said, good question. And he said, the walk-ons this year up the middle are very good. He said Gaffney, Hubert at defensive tackle, which people make fun of Gaffney and Hubert because they're walk-ons. What's the difference if they're a walk-on or not? And then he said Cale Winter is going to play a lot of football this year. He's a walk-on young offensive lineman that plays center and guard. You know, so he gave a little glimpse into all three of them guys are very good football players, he said, which I think that makes me feel better about the defensive line. You know, he said there's a lot of good young players on the defensive line. They just got to get ready. You know, they got 6 months or whatever to get ready and to be ready to play this fall. Oh, the running back. He kind of gave you a depth chart on the running back. He said Moulton's the most experienced and ready to play running back. And then he goes, the next one is Xavier Williams, who I love Xavier Williams. He said he's having a tremendous spring.
Yeah, we saw flashes of what he could do this last season.
He's the best. He's the best at catching passes and the biggest, of course. When you're 5'11" and you weigh 225, 30 pounds. And Lester said he was, for 10 yards, he was the fastest running back, faster than Dahl for 10 yards, you know. And then he said the other two are Phillips and McNeil. You know, and I know they
McNeil getting pushed all the way down the depth chart to number 4.
Well, that's probably where he came into the season. It's probably where he was at the end of the last season. He's just a terrible pass blocker, and you can't play at Iowa and be a terrible pass blocker because you get your quarterback killed whenever they get blitzed.
No, I know, but he showed that he can run the ball when he's got it in his hands.
Yeah, he's the most, and I think Kirk used the terminology. He's the most naturally gifted runner we have. But there's a lot more to playing running back than just running the football. And I think Phillips is right up there. But I seen on just these little practice tapes, number 21, he's fumbled the ball twice, and boy, if you fumble the ball, that's a big, big no. It's like if you're a tight end and you drop the ball, if you drop passes, that's the worst thing you can do if you're a receiver.
Yeah. So. There was a time if you fumble the ball, you didn't play the rest of the game. And Kirk could give you another shot next game. But I think he's realized that does happen once in a while, unfortunately. And so he's not held that as much against them this last few years as he has in the past.
That's interesting that you bring that up, because my next subject was about everybody's overall takes to all these podcasts I listen to and everything. And the only real expert that I listened to was Jeff Book. And he played for Reese Morgan up to Benton Community, him and his brother Doug. They're from the little town of Keystone, Iowa. And Hayden called them the Keystone Cops. And anyway, Doug Book said the only reason he got to run the ball at Benton Community was the guy that was the starter and who was the most talented. He fumbled the ball the first drive of the season, and Reese Morgan benched him for the rest of the year. So Doug Book got to be the running back at a young age. So yeah, coaches used to bench him pretty quickly and for a long time for fumbling. They don't quite take it to that extent now. But anyway, the overview of all these podcasters is I listen to all of them, and all they want to talk about all the time is the quarterback. But
did you listen to Chad Lysicle's last podcast?
Yeah.
He started out by saying
him and Tyler both lean to Hecklinski.
Yeah, I know, but he kept saying, he goes, we don't want to talk about the quarterbacks. We want to talk about something else. Then they end up getting into it.
It's aggravating to me. We're going to talk about the quarterback because they talk about quarterbacks all the time. And then, hey, let's talk about the quarterbacks. But I listened to all of them, and Doctorman, David Eicholt, and Elliot Clough. Elliot Clough is very good.
Yeah. Hey, can I interrupt you for just a second?
Yeah.
Did you know that Iowa has 4 players who were ranked number 1 their senior year in their states? And now I thought we were talking football, but Sam now has corrected himself and said women's basketball. So let's see. Got number 1. Who are they? Name the number 1s.
Number 1s in their state in high school?
Yeah, their senior year. So that would be Ava.
We don't have hardly any Iowa kids on the thing. Callie was and Hannah was, but neither one of them are on there. You're right, Ava, right?
I would sure Ava for Alaska.
I don't think any of them Georgia girls were.
McKenna, probably she's not here yet, but she was probably number 1 in California.
No. Tina, that Smith girl who's a junior, was number 1. She got California Miss Basketball.
Okay.
She ain't even a senior, but
Sam, you got to help us out here. Tell us which 4 you're talking about. That's kind of interesting
trivia. We got to go through the. Well, I'm sure Amari Whiting was in Little Utah.
Little Utah. Anyway, let's go on and finish our football talk. And
I thought you wanted to do this question. Okay,
we do. I mean, he's answered it. I didn't think he'd answer it that quick. Let's just go ahead and answer.
Who were they?
Okay, hang on. Ava, we had right. Layla, Danny, and Amari. So you had Ava and Mari right. Layla for was it Washington, Oregon?
Alaska.
Oh, Alaska. Layla was Alaska. Ava was Oregon.
I don't think Danny.
Georgia. Danny was Georgia, I believe.
I doubt that, but
yeah. By the way, I got this listed for later. I just wanted to thought you can start calling us Georgia North.
Yeah, and we got our next visitor. Our next visitor, I don't know if you know about her. I told you in the chat, but you don't get to look at that stuff. Is Her first name is Georgia.
Yeah.
But she's not from Georgia. Georgia Ferguson.
Okay. I don't remember that name.
She's got like 3 years left. She played for Molly Davis last year.
Oh, yeah. That's the second player from Molly Davis that we're bringing in to look at, and the other one burned us and went somewhere else.
I think there was actually 3 of them. But, yeah, the one, the I don't know if they burned us. They just probably found better fits where they knew they'd get to play some more than at Iowa, maybe. I don't know. Was Brueggemann one of them?
Yes.
And
I think she was one.
Brueggemann went to Houston and one of the secrets there was Houston gave her brother a job as a women's basketball manager, and I guess Iowa wouldn't do that. But,
oh my gosh.
But anyway, we were on the Eichholt and Eric Clough.
Yeah.
Clough, I listened to theirs. I listened to Zach Heine. I listened to all of them, and I did this study, and it came out like 54.8% of them thought that Hank Brown was the one that was impressed them a little more, and then the other percentage, 46 or 7%, they picked Hecklinski. So that's how close it was. It was so funny to hear some guys say, "Oh, I thought obviously Hecklinski was better," and then the next person you'd listen to, "Well, I thought obviously Hank stood up in the pocket better and threw darts and all this shit." I think Hank's main advantage is being big because he can see over the line and take a punishment probably better than Hecklinski. I've never made it a secret. I lean towards Hecklinski just because of the quickness he plays with. But I don't know. I don't see him play. So I'm no expert. But the one expert I consider the one expert to listen to is Jeff Book. He does like an A&F podcast. It's called Something Else over in Illinois. And he's a real expert on football. He picked Hank Brown, and he didn't think it was incredibly close. He said so many of Hank Brown's incompletions were thrown perfect and stuff like that. That was his opinion, but it's just a coin flip.
Yeah.
And
the thing is who's going to protect the ball? Who's going to move the team downfield?
Who's going to be a winner?
That's how he's going to decide which quarterback is which.
Who's going to be a winner? Who's going to play winning football?
Yeah.
And it's moving the football, not turning it over. That's Sullivan had a bad day with the two bad pick interceptions.
He's probably number 4 on the depth chart going into the summer.
Fitzgerald
probably.
Fitzgerald didn't get much near as many plays, But anyway, and another thing that I noticed, and then most of the podcast noticed, was how great LeVar Woods' voice stuck out as like the fifth tight end into the game or something. He's kind of like a hybrid guy. He's only 6'2" and weighs about 220 pounds. But they put him in that
receiver size. He's more of a size for a receiver.
He plays in that tight end position like Hayden Large does. He's a pretty good blocker for his size, and they think that he'll be that guy that goes in motion, kind of plays play more of a hybrid slot receiver like Puka Nacua and what's our guy's name? Wetjet, Caden Wetjet. Even though he's a lot bigger, but boy, he kind of stuck out in that. And then a couple true freshmen, Marcello Vitti and Darian Jones. When you're second team cash and second team cornerback in the spring game, and you've only practice for 3 weeks with the Hawkeyes. Phil must think kind of the world of you. So anyway, I think that's most of what Kirk covered. And then Nick DeJong, the former walk-on at Iowa offensive lineman, he graduated last year. He was a walk-on that actually was thrown in as a starter at Iowa as a redshirt freshman on them terrible offensive lines he was on. And the main thing he talked about was that none of them were ready, of course. We all know that. But he talked about the thing at Iowa that people do not realize. And he was on with Corey Kluver, and Corey Kluver says, yeah, people do not realize. He says the amount of pain on a daily basis during the season, after the season, that you endure. He said all 5 of my seasons that I played at Iowa, because he played 5, he had a COVID year. He said my daily pain playing for the Hawkeyes, and he said our trainers would ask you this. He says you ruin your joints, you're banged up the whole season, and even in preseason. And he said the trainers would ask him the pain scale, 1 to 10. The pain scale at 10, they're told, is debilitating. You can't even get up. You can't move. And he said he rated his daily pain every day playing for Iowa. Some days it was higher, but the average every day was 5. And he said people do not understand. And he said the people that go off to the NFL and try playing for 5 years in the NFL, you do not know how really disabled you are and how much pain you have to endure to be a football player. And I always laugh when people say, well, don't these pro football players give money back to the university? And I'm like, I don't think they're going to, to suffer the way they do and everything. And let's see. I think that's all my football things I wanted to dissertate on.
Can you dissertate about our new commitment, Braden Santi Banez?
Yeah, you pronounce it Santi Banez.
Santi Banez. Okay.
He told people he told the On3 reporter, and he even gave him a voice clip of how to pronounce it. Santi Banez.
Santi Banez.
Okay. Yeah. And anyway, yeah, he's a guy that he shared the quarterback spot down there in Tennessee last year because they had another veteran quarterback and had a really good team. And I don't even think he played half the snaps, but he had a really good year, completing 65% and way more touchdowns than interceptions. And he runs the ball really good. Last year he was 6'3", 205 pounds. So you would kind of compare him to a Beathard or Gronowski, in body size. By the time spring football rolls around next year, he'll probably weigh 220 some pounds, and he's a very powerful, pretty fast runner. They even had his 40 time. At a camp, he ran 4.69, which is exactly what Gronk ran for his pro day.
Yeah.
And
Now, do you think? This guy, by all standards, sounds like he could fit the Iowa program. Sounds like he's a pretty decent quarterback. We got one coming in June.
Mm-hmm.
Forget his name. That's supposed to be supposed to be really good himself. So my question is, are these two going to wait around, get their chances to start, or are they going to take off and go? Because in my mind, I got them being better than the two that we're fighting for a starting position right now.
I have no clue. I watched tape and tape and tape on Bessinger. He would remind you of a guy who's not real physical, not a great runner, needs to put on some weight. He's kind of built like a Joe Montana type guy, and he throws like that. I mean, beautiful throws, but that don't mean anything. He might be playing in some goof up offense that has real good wide receivers that get open. There's a lot of difference between throwing the ball against Albany and throwing the ball in the spring game against Phil's defense, where you're not even running your total offense. But this kid from Tennessee, I watched him, and I'm very impressed with his athletic ability, his strength running. He's going to run, and he's not going to get hurt. He's a type of guy that's built like a football player. He isn't built like some basketball player that's playing quarterback. And he's tall enough, big enough. He can really run, and he can really whip that ball around. About all the throws I've seen were into a lot of tight windows. I think they probably play in kind of a running offense. And I don't think, from what I've seen, I don't think he had any wide receivers that were like burning by everybody where he got a wide open guy for a 70-yard touchdown or anything. But he looked really good. And I have no idea what the future holds. How long Bessinger's going to be here, how long Santi Benez is going to be here. I don't know how long Hecklinski's going to be here after this year, or how long Hank Brown is. Quarterback more than any position is most teams have a portal quarterback starting for them about every year in the Big Ten. But I have no clue how
we have two
portal
quarterbacks. We have two.
I know.
Todd Spiker says blessings. All right, who means Bessinger? Bessinger is from Utah. His high school stats were over 11,000 yards and 110 touchdowns. That's impressive.
Yeah, I think one year he had like, I don't know, 50-some touchdowns and 2 interceptions. But like I said, you don't know, Marco Lainez had all these great freaking stats playing for that goofy coach he played for. And he wasn't playing against good competition, and it showed when he got to Iowa. So I'm old enough that I don't pay much attention to that. I just hope that Tim Lester and Tyler Barnes know what they're doing as far as picking quarterbacks. I think the quarterback room's in better shape, depth-wise and everything, even in the spring game this year, than I can remember, for quite some time. Probably since Beathard had Wiegers backing him up that when Beathard was going to be a sophomore, But that would be my opinion. I don't know anything, but
okay.
Yeah. The other, I don't think we had any other football commitments, right?
No, we haven't.
We got one that's going to commit real soon, is another linebacker, and he reminds you of Jack Campbell, and he's from Pella, Iowa, and his last name is Van Manen. It's like a Dutch name, and boy, you got a lot. I don't think Iowa even really wanted another linebacker, but this guy looks like Jack Campbell. He's like tall, 6'3.5", and weighs 215 pounds in high school, which is probably about what Jack was in high school. And he sure looks like Jack Campbell out there playing. I mean, holy
let's
cow.
Hope he plays like Jack Campbell.
And Kirk always made the comment that Jack Campbell could have played 7 different positions at Iowa. He always claimed that Jack Campbell, he could have moved him over to center and put a bunch of weight on him, and he'd been an All-American center. He'd been in defensive end.
How about a tight end?
Yeah. So, other quick news to get it out of the way was the wrestling team had a wrestling transfer. You remember Peterson, who wrestled for us at the lighter weights, Dean?
Yes. He no relationship to the other Peterson that was actually a starter and All-American this year. This guy
Okay.
didn't get much wrestling time at all.
But
I think that's
but,
why
it,
he's left.
but he wrestled I don't know, like 17 matches this year, but they were probably in tournaments and stuff, right?
Yes.
And
Yes. Because they all wrestle in tournaments and
yeah.
non-attached duels as non-attached and stuff like that.
And you can wrestle in so many real duels and it doesn't count. You got to wrestle so many times to count as an actual year of participation. You want me to go on to the next one, or do you want to lead me on?
Well, what are we talking about next? I do have
Women.
Yeah, I wanted to lead into the women
Okay.
commit that we got this week and a little bit about her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who's going to make us Georgia North now?
Yeah. She's a 6'3". She can play probably 4 different positions for Iowa. She could. I don't know if she's good enough ball handler to be a point guard, but she's an off guard, is what she calls herself. But in the 4-out situation that we play, obviously she could play the small forward and power forward too. At 6'3", she's not a real physically built. She reminds me of the girl that transferred away named Taiwo, who was here with when Kylie Feuerbach and Taiwo played together with Caitlin Clark. Then they brought in Molly Davis and Sejano. Girls got extra COVID years, and they didn't have room for Taiwo and Kettering or Wettering, and then the Cook girl. And we had 3 transfer out that year. But this girl athletically is quick, like that Taiwo. She didn't do anything in her first year at Georgia, but she was fairly highly recruited, about the number 70 player in the nation coming into last year.
Now she didn't transfer from Georgia Tech like the other one did, right?
She played with Danny Carney.
Georgia.
Yeah, she never played for Georgia Tech. This year was her first year, and Lysandra Barrett recruited her in high school, was the connection Lysandra had. And then she played with Danny Carnegie. So I'm sure those 2 players kind of told Jan, Lysandra ain't a player, but Lysandra knew about her in high school. And she played with Carnegie and Chit Chat on the same AAU team. So 2 players knew her, and Lysandra knew her, and that helped. And it helped that she probably didn't do a darn thing last year. I think she was 0 for 7 from 3 points, and didn't really do much of anything stat wise. Just played a few minutes a game, probably 5-6 minutes a game. But it helped that we had 2 players that played with her, and that Lysandra Barrett knew her from recruiting. And it also helped that she didn't do anything in college her first year, so she wasn't going to be asking for $100,000.
No.
You know.
And Iowa can train her the way they want because she didn't get much. So I want to kind of look at this because, like I said, we still need 3. I mean, probably 2 to 3. 2 at the very least, maybe 3 or 4 players yet. One of them should be a number 4 position, although Jan doesn't really play position basketball. But I wanted to look at what we got going right now. So we have 1 commit from guard Jada Siebert. Okay. Seibert. Okay. Now we've had visits from 6 other people that they're chasing that have not committed anywhere yet. That's Nation Williams, who I feel like we're going to get. I really do. She's a forward.
I hope so.
Just because of the nice things her mother said to get Danny, right? To get Danny here for us. Guard Madeline McNeary from Sarasota, Florida.
McNeary?
She's visited but not committed. Destiny Manuel who everybody knows as Cam's sisters from Kansas City. She's
Mhm.
visited but not committed yet.
Can I tell you something about McNeary before you move
Yeah, go
on?
ahead. Yeah, go
She
ahead.
was just at LSU this last weekend.
Yeah, she's probably going there.
She's very highly rated, very much in demand. That don't mean she's going to LSU, but I just wanted to throw that in that she was at LSU this weekend.
Okay, alrighty, all right, and then we got Brooke Seeley Colvin from Idaho. She's a guard. I really feel like we need to zero in on these forwards like Nation Williams.
Mm-hmm. The girl
Another
from
one.
Idaho. The girl from Idaho. How did you spell her last name?
Colvin, Colvin.
That's her last name.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Brooks Lee is her first name. I misread it before. Okay. And then another one who's visited but not committed anywhere is Maya Wilson. She's a guard. And
From
then a point
Minnesota.
guard by the name of Addison Medic from
How you spell
Nebraska.
it?
Medeck, but she's from Nebraska. I have a feeling that maybe Nebraska has a better
She'll be
shot than we
Nebraska.
do.
She'll be Nebraska or Iowa. Ain't she a bigger girl? Or you say a guard?
Point
I
guard.
thought she was
Oh, I'm sorry,
no,
power forward.
power
This is what we're
forward.
looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we need
know
a
these
power
girls. I
forward.
thought she was 6'3" or bigger, but
Yeah, we need her. We got to get her here. Okay, uncommitted and have not visited Iowa at all, so they're probably not. Iowa's probably not on their radar. Is Kaylina Smith?
that's the
Ivan
number one
Wilson?
player in the world. That's the number one player in the world that scored like 50 points against McKenna Wolitzko. She's a little point guard.
UCLA or USC, you think?
I think people say that she loves Caitlin. And she knows Wolitzko, and she knows Nation Williams. That if they could all package together and come, but I would think she'd go to USC or UCLA. But I don't know. Maybe she'll go to UConn or South Carolina. I don't know.
Depends on what she's looking for.
You
Sydney
sure like her.
Xavier from Michigan, probably Michigan bound.
Her parents went to Michigan.
Yeah. Kalua Hartwell, center from Anderson, South Carolina. I bet I know where she's going.
Me too. But boy, she's at the last I seen, South Carolina hadn't even offered her. So I don't. And then South Carolina got the best center in the history of mankind this week, Aaliyah Edwards, that girl that can dunk like Michael Jordan. So maybe she don't want to go compete with her. But.
Yeah, Harper Dunn, from Vaughn, New Mexico.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she's a center, so she would have been worth going to get. Okay, now these are people that Iowa was interested in, but are not coming to Iowa. They've committed elsewhere. You'll have to help me with this because I don't have their commitments. Caroline Bradley from Louisiana. Finley Chastain from Prosper, Texas. Brinley Altenberg. I know she went to Nebraska. Okay. The name that's not on this list, and Iowa must have dropped even any interest with her. Maybe
you're not going to mention that girl. You're not going to mention that girl, and that isn't even a good prospect, are you?
Well, she can pass the ball and she can shoot it. However, it doesn't seem like Jan's actively recruiting her, even though she put Iowa in her top 10.
Yeah, them top 10 she mentioned, none of them are even recruiting her. I seen a write-up about her. It's all fake. So somebody said on there that she's not even really a power 4 prospect. But all these people, because of all this hoopla. Anyway, I'll quit talking about her. What's her name? Like Walpole or something?
Yeah, it's slipping my mind. I have to look it up right now. It's slipping my, and I shouldn't because I've been hoping to get her to come to Iowa because she can shoot the 3. It don't matter. It don't matter. Ask Molly Davis what level you're capable of playing basketball on. If you can shoot the 3, you can shoot it at any level. I don't care if it's power 4, mid majors, Division 2. If you can shoot the 3, you can shoot it at any level.
unless you're Troy Skinner, the greatest 3-point shooter in the history of Iowa basketball. At the Iowa high school basketball, and then he comes to Iowa and can't hit a 3-pointer and is slower than shit.
Yeah, but wasn't at Iowa? Isn't the 3-pointer a little further out than it was back in those days?
I don't know. You tell me.
I think when Troy Skinner was in high school, the 3-point line ran right in the middle of the circle. Didn't even go out to the circle. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, even I could hit a 3-pointer from there. And
by the way, the girl that I mentioned earlier, Georgia Ferguson, I forgot to mention.
Mm-hmm.
She's like a 6'3" girl that can play power forward or guard, and she's not quick, but she can really shoot. And anyway, she's another girl that's from Canada.
Okay.
All of a sudden, you hear about all these prospects in Canada. You know,
I love Canada. I love Canada.
I do too. It's my favorite country.
You know, after Iowa being God's state, Canada's God's country.
That's right. Right. I have so many friends in Canada. It's ridiculous, though.
Yeah, me too.
And I love about almost about every one of them.
Alrighty. So, one thing else before we leave women's, and I want to go on to men's real quick.
Yep, I got one more thing about women too. You go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I did notice today that Iowa and ESPN's too early NCAA bracketology that they have Iowa again as a number 2 seed again.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that happening. I really can. Although I think the Big Ten itself is getting tougher this year because all the teams that were players last year have really strengthened themselves. But Iowa, you know, even though we only have 9 players, they're strengthening themselves too. You know,
I know, but wait till we get more than 9 players.
Yeah,
that's the thing that holds me back from agreeing with that. I like the players we got, but what if we had like 2 or 3 injuries?
Yeah.
There's no way we definitely got to go deeper
than 9. But the hard thing is
we got to have, because I'm just saying the luck of injuries.
Yeah.
You know, it's
here's what I believe.
I know one thing. Michigan's going to be really good next year. USC's going to be really good next year, and all these teams that added on portal players like Maryland and Illinois is going to be really good. I don't even want to think about it.
I know. That's what I was trying to say is it's way too early to be ranking Iowa as a number 2 seed.
I got a question for you.
I would love to see that. However, like I just said before you said something, every Big Ten team that was a player last year has strengthened their own schedule, their own teams too.
I got a question for you, Dean.
Yeah.
When you looked at that seeding thing, did you look to see how many Big Ten teams were in the top 2 seeds? Was there only 2 or 3?
No, I only just took the headline about Iowa. I didn't have time to go and look at it.
I know Michigan was either a number 1 or 2.
Okay.
I seen that. I was looking for Iowa and I seen Michigan there, and I should have looked at the other ones to see where we were at.
Yeah. Iowa women beat Michigan twice this year. Can we do it again next year?
I hope so. Yeah. We don't have our secret weapon against Michigan's always been Hannah Stolke.
Yeah.
You know, they could not handle her physicality, rebounding. They never had anybody to match up with that.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, Sam wants to say Danny was number 1 and Chat was number, I don't know what that is, 2. Chat was number 2 in Georgia their senior years. Kelvin POV wrong.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong, but I don't remember that. You know, I'll look it up when we get off, but it doesn't matter. I believe it.
Yeah.
I usually follow that pretty good. I thought Danny Carnegie was only like a top 18 player. Usually Georgia has somebody that's a top 5, 6, 7 player, you know, and they all go to South Carolina and LSU.
Yeah. I want to go back up to Boy. He just said hi. He wants to let me know he's still here, but he did comment earlier. I put it up, but we were so busy I didn't get a chance to mention it.
Do you remember what he said?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up.
Okay.
Something about, here it is. Wait a minute, I lost it. Here we go. Okay, we're gonna bring it up. Okay, it says Cootie will never, ever, ever win a national championship. I mentioned Cootie is Kirk.
If Boy wants to believes that, I don't. The possibility of winning a national championship at Iowa now is not very good, because we do not have two things. We do not have two billionaires. Kirk has everything else. He competed with all them people with all that money this year. You know, just a little flip of the ball. Gronk talked about it, how he never seen this year every game we lost about. He said it was just on some one play, and he said he was never involved in anything like that. He said when he was at he said they won a national championship up in FCS, and he said up there we could have lost 7 games that year, but we got all the bounces and we went undefeated and won the national championship.
Yeah.
You know, I don't
losses could have easily been wins. All 3 of their losses, or 4 actually. I'm going to count Iowa State here.
Yeah.
Could have been wins. All of them.
Gronk, he took the blame, and Wet Jet took the blame on Iowa State too. Wet Jet called it the worst game he ever played at any level.
And it's very too bad that neither one of them are going to come back to Iowa this year, because I could see them getting so pumped up for Iowa State this year and saying, "Not again! It's not happening again." So the boys that are left will have to take up that call.
But Gronk did make the comment that when his first 2 games, Albany and Iowa State, he was too jacked up. And he said that Iowa State game, they wanted it so bad because Kirk was gonna beat Iowa State, and that was gonna set the Big Ten record, and everybody wanted it so bad that they were tight.
Yeah.
You know? And he said two of the most thrilling things that ever happened to him, he said, were in 2 games they lost. When he scored that touchdown against Oregon, he said that was the loudest end zone. When he entered that end zone, he had never heard anything like that in his life, and he felt like Iowa fans loved him. And he said, I wanted to be a Hawkeye for life when I went in there. And he said, I thought we were going to win that game. He said, I didn't think Oregon. You know, He said, just because a pass went a half inch over top of a shoulder pad of TJ Hall's, we lost.
Yeah.
You know, and then he said, he said in the first half at USC, he said, we kicked their rear end the whole first half. And he said, in the second half, USC made adjustments, and 3 of my offensive linemen got hurt, and that's why we lost.
Yeah.
You know, but
I wanted to say when he scored that touchdown to take the lead with a minute left, or I can't even remember how much time was left.
I think it was like a minute 40 or 30. I'm not sure.
Okay, but we were listening because we couldn't watch it. I was up in the mountains on a men's retreat that weekend, and all the guys were listening, and they're coming up to me going, congratulations, you guys are going to beat Oregon. And I go, no, you guys don't know Iowa. You know, let's just wait. Let's just wait until the clock ticks to 0 before we declare a winner. And then we lost, and they're all going, dude, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he reminded me in a USC game. He said, is that true? We didn't score a point in the second half?
We didn't.
Yeah. And he said, was it 21-7, or do you remember what the score was at halftime at all?
I think it was 21-7 at halftime, and I think they just scored the 7. I think we were up 21-0 at one point.
Well, I remember that last touchdown we had was that trick play where Vanderzee threw the ball. Did he throw it to Gronowski or Vanamy, or who did he throw it to?
Gronowski. Gronowski caught that ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But anyway, let me
Go
just
ahead.
read the Boy's thing. Hate to burst your bubble, but that the truth. I
He
just read
just
him the
don't.
way he writes them, guys.
Yeah, boy, just doesn't like. Obviously, doesn't like Kirk.
I don't
Yeah.
know. He might. You know, he's
How
been
could you?
fairly
How could you?
positive all the time.
How could you criticize a guy that's averaged over 9 wins a season the last 10 years, and that
Well,
one
just ask
season
Boy, do
and
you want
one
Kirk
one
gone? Do you like
one
him? Boy, give us an answer.
he'll say, "Wah, I won a national championship, and I'm gonna hold my breath till I do."
I do too, and I'm
I
running
know
out of
that.
years to see
That's,
it. You know
that's
when it's
why
going to
I made
happen?
it.
The year
That's
I
why I
die
made
is
it in.
probably but the year
That's
I
why
die
I
is
made it
probably the year
in.
it happens.
That's
Because I
why I
want to
made
tell you,
it in. That's why I made it in baby voice, because it
yeah,
just seems weird to me that
yeah,
we have such a good coach, and but I want a national championship. It's all about me, you
yeah.
know.
It is, it is. No, but I
I
want to
think
tell
it's
you a
all
secret.
about.
Yeah,
I think it's all about doing things the right way, and with the cards you're dealt. And
yeah.
Kirk is not dealt. He's not in some great recruiting area. He doesn't have all this money that these teams that he's in the bottom third of the Big Ten money wise, and as far as the nation, as far as going against the SEC, I think he does plenty great. Not well, but great.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
our billionaires that come out of Iowa could definitely help. Ashton Kushner, Tom, whatever his name is, Tom Arnold. They're too. They're too big. You know, they come to all the games when they can, all the big games. Why aren't they just putting a little dough out there for us to
yeah,
help
I
us
don't
out?
know what they're worth. I don't know what they're worth, but I wouldn't think Tom Arnold, a struggling comedian who hadn't done anything for 30 years. I doubt that he's rich, but
No,
yeah,
but Ashton Kushner, you know, is
I
okay.
guess I don't know.
All
Somebody
right,
tell
but I
me.
wanted to say the reason why I think the year I die, they will finally win a national title because Kirk's. You remember Kirk's first year going to the Rose Bowl when they finally won? They got over the hump
Or,
and went to the Rose Bowl.
Orange Bowl,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
mhm.
okay. It wasn't the Orange Bowl. It was. I mean, the orange.
USC.
It was the Orange Bowl, but technically, the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, moved to the Orange Bowl that year.
That's right.
Okay. So my dad had died a few months before that, so
Hmm.
he's a big Iowa alum and who had season tickets all those years, and it was hard on him. You can't really watch in those days. It was mostly radio. So every Saturday, every radio in our house was on an Iowa broadcast football game, so that my dad could hear it
Hmm.
no matter what room he was in. All right, and so he died before he had a chance to see Kirk pull out the win, the the Orange Bowl trip, because
Hmm.
he did get to see the winning season the year before, but he
Hmm.
didn't get to see the Orange Bowl because he passed away before it.
Yeah,
And so I'm thinking I've done everything. Um, I've followed suit along the same way that my dad has his entire life. So I figure like this is what's going to happen. I'm going to have to
I don't
come
know.
down as a ghost or a spirit and watch him win the national title. All right.
I suppose we could be surprised, and Kirk does win the national championship in the next 4 or 5 years that he's going to coach. But I wouldn't expect it. Like I said, we don't have a billionaire. I wanted to make one more comment about the women, if I could.
Okay.
It was something that they put out a video, and it disappointed me.
Okay.
It was where all these girls, Chit Chat wasn't involved. She says she doesn't get it, but Journey and all these girls, Kylie, you can name all of them. Layla, guys bothering them with messages on TikTok and Instagram and stuff. Would you guys, old guys, please quit it? Leave these girls alone. Good God, you don't have to ask them if they, you know, tell them how pretty they are and all this crap that they have to put up with. Chit Chat said she doesn't get any of that. So, but the other girls, it was like, it just made me feel bad, that even the girls that left, like Callie and Addie, that they have to put up with that crap. You know what I mean, Dean?
Mm-hmm.
Let them go to school and enjoy playing basketball at Iowa, and don't send them messages like that. That's my one. That was my last thing on that.
Okay.
On the whole
Boy has this comment. He goes, "I don't like how Cootie sells out the quarterback room and contractor quarterbacks loyalty. Contractor. Oh, probably quarterbacks from the portal."
So now I know that Boy is delusional because in Kirk's history at Iowa, you can't even find a season where he didn't play his best quarterback, and it's proven out.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to men's basketball.
That was silly.
Okay, now that we know that Banks isn't probably coming back, probably because of the 5-5 rule. The 5-5 rule takes care of that, because that eliminates his medical red shirt. It eliminates him going 5 for 5. So he's done.
But he still has the possibility of being a junior college player or getting another year.
Okay. All righty.
So I don't know.
The question is we probably want one more player. We probably got plenty of wing players and centers now. Are we looking at another guard possibly? Do you think? And has any names come up that you think that we're getting?
No. Banks is the only one I've kind of heard about. The only thing I was thinking is, could they get a guy to reclassify like they did Trey Thompson? But that's something that might never happen again. But I think it was Kakert or somebody said he could use another ball handler. In case he's got Coleman and Combs, and then he's got his boy Peyton. And I've never seen Peyton play. I don't know how good he is. But if one of them first two got hurt, you might be in kind of a pinch ball handling wise, unless somebody like Tate Sage or something like that or Howard would surprise me that they could run the offense a little bit. That's my only thought, Dean.
Okay. Well,
what do you think?
Right. I just wondered if there's anybody who was hot for Iowa. He's this, like you said, recruiting in AAU circuit is heating up pretty quick here. And so they're going to be watching a lot of AAU kids, but none of these kids seem to have any interest close to Iowa that they're looking at.
They're recruiting 5 of the very top point guards in the junior class.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I got them right here. Jalen Davis, Caden Doherty, TJ Jamison, Jackson Davis, and then they've got some shooting guards and shooting forwards, or small forward. But the only person who has a remote interest in let me see if I can do that. I think it's Jimmy McKinney, a shooting guard
from St. Louis. Yeah, he's the one that
everybody else is like at 20% and lower interest in Iowa.
Tom Kakert answered that question from a fan. We don't have anybody over 25% except for that kid from St. Louis or something. Mm-hmm. And Tom goes, those percentages are just math. If the guy has 4 top schools, we say 25%. Mm-hmm. It's like the Davis kid that's from Washington there. I really like him. And a friend of mine went to his game and talked to him after the game. And the kid was just lit up about Iowa. He's down to like Gonzaga and Boise State, Iowa, and somebody else. And they list him at 25%. I guarantee you the odds of him going to Iowa are way higher than 25%. Then there's the kid I think there's more than one kid named Davis. There's a kid from Chicago. I don't know if his name's Davis or not. And then there's a kid from Florida. And I'll bet you Iowa's in the top 3 for both of them. And the kid from St. Louis, I bet we're leading for him. But them kids know how famous Ben is for being the best point guard coach.
Yeah, and I mean,
And that's
I
what.
would think what he did with
Mhm.
yeah, you know who, and I don't know why
Sturts,
my name is thing
Sturts.
Sturge, yeah, and what they did getting Iowa with great players to the Elite Eight has to say a lot. Has to say
Mm-hmm.
a lot. A lot of people have to look at that and have to have a vision saying, "Hey, I want to be a part of that. If I'm a part of that, maybe we can go further."
And it's very, very well known what other coaches say about Ben. The
Hmm.
coach at Florida, the coach at Texas Tech, the float coach at Michigan. In interviews, they just go, Ben McCollum might be the best coach in the nation,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, now
And
it
then,
says,
and then, if they read it all, they can see that Brad Stevens, who runs the Celtics, calls Ben and asks him how to do this, how to do that. You know, it's pretty impressive if the kids are given the information about Ben. And I think Ben's a very straightforward guy like Kirk recruiting,
hmm
you know.
yeah.
Uh,
Well,
this is
I
how
want to go
this is
back
what
to
you're going to do at Iowa, you know.
this Jackson Davis. He's an ultra competitive 6'1" point guard that Rivals ranks as the 48th best player in the class. He seems to have a good amount of interest in the Hawkeyes, but Iowa
Mhm.
has plenty of competition, including in-state Illinois, Michigan State, Purdue, and Michigan, all of
He's the
which
one thing.
finished ahead of us in the standings this year.
That's right, but we got to the Elite Eight with a team that shouldn't have got there. That would
Yeah,
impress the kid too. I expect that kid to go to Illinois because
yeah,
Illinois and Michigan just spend so much money. It's ridiculous,
yeah.
you know.
Okay, so also another player, he's one of the top high school prospects, is Caden Doherty. We mentioned his name. He's from Florida. He's 6 foot guard.
Florida.
He ranks as the 15th player in his class by Rivals. He has been
Mhm.
mentioned in Iowa, Michigan, Miami, and Florida State as his top schools. Iowa hopes to get him on campus in the future. And then two other guards that they're mentioning is, of course, the Jalen Davis, which you talked about, and T.J.
Mhm.
Jemison.
Mhm.
So yeah, there
Where's
seems to be
where's
some interest in
where,
Iowa. The
where's
ranking.
James where's Jameson from?
Jamison is from.
I knew about the kid
Okay,
from
he's a 6'2"
St. Louis.
guard, ranked 40th in the class from Louisiana.
There you
He has
go.
a list of 10 schools that he's still considering, including Iowa, Maryland, Alabama, LSU, Miami, Arkansas, Baylor, Louisville, SMU, Oklahoma State. While we're up against some if we beat out any of these schools for any of these kids, we beat
Well,
out some competition.
I always look for a money school. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the kid from Illinois, he's got Michigan and Illinois. Well, they spend 20 some million on their basketball roster, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and you just mentioned Arkansas. That's where John Calipari is, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be hard to outbid, you know, but maybe some kids aren't all about money.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And this Jimmy McKinney seems to be leaning heavily toward Iowa. He lists Iowa as one of his favorite school, which is also he's
Mhm.
also looking at Missouri, where his father played.
Yep.
He's a
That kid
it's
is
a
the
small
one that,
forward.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, wait
He's
a
a
minute. I'm
point guard.
sorry. Wait a minute. No, I got the wrong one. Okay,
Yeah,
Donovan Davis is the small forward that we're also looking at, and
yeah,
we're
he
up
was,
against Iowa State, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Marquette. So he's got a few good schools.
he's
He
going to
has
announce his,
he has
he's
already
going to,
visited Iowa many times.
yeah, he was just at Iowa State like a couple days ago, but he's probably going to go to Iowa State and he's going to announce his commitment the 6th. That's just like 3 days away or something.
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh my
I know
gosh.
all about Donovan.
Okay.
Uh, there's another kid named Conan or something from Wisconsin.
Yeah, 6'5".
All them Wisconsin guys are either going to go to Wisconsin, Iowa State, or Iowa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he has offers from Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's
Iowa
a six
State.
foot seven forward, London Data.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Nebraska. probably headed to Nebraska.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing we got to consider too is Nebraska came off one of their best years ever in NCAA basketball, and so they're going to, a lot of homegrown talent is going to look at staying at Nebraska.
Yeah, he's supposed to go to Nebraska, but I wouldn't put it past, from what I'm hearing, that Iowa will going to make a run on him. You know how I would recruit that kid, Dean?
Well, how?
I'd say, well, remember when you come to Iowa, we have 5 starting positions. Hoiberg only plays 4.
Okay. I get it. It took me a minute to realize what you were saying.
Yeah, the best Nebraska team ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I can ever remember, right? The one Hoiberg had this year. Mm-hmm. And our guy, Ben, in his first year with not a great roster except for Ben Sturtz, we beat him. Yeah. We beat him twice. That might be a hint. Maybe you ought to go to Iowa.
Yeah. Because in everything but volleyball, we seem to own Nebraska. Well, and baseball next weekend. When are we playing Nebraska? Next weekend? We
don't. I don't think we do. We went 2 for 3 against Illinois this weekend to get our Big Ten record up to 12-12, I believe. Mm-hmm. But our last 6 games are against
Purdue and Nebraska.
Purdue and Nebraska, 2 of the top 5 or 6 teams, even though Purdue and Nebraska both have lost 3 games in a row. So if we can just go into them 6 games and win 2 and go 2-4, we'll make the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
I was looking at the standings tonight. Kyle was supposed
to UCLA looks like avoided their first loss of the season today after being down many runs. Okay.
They're just too good.
Yeah. Okay. Todd Spiker's talking about donors. He said Bruce Reistetter, he's guessing, is a major donor to Iowa, probably close to $500K, maybe a little less. But I have seen his house and it is nice.
Yeah, he gives. I don't know, but he gives more than that.
Yeah.
Because I seen an email that somebody's secretly stole from the Swarm, and Rastetler and Brad were given most of the money in that particular month, and it was a lot of money. But
if a guy sounds familiar, I'm trying to place his name.
He's like, I think he's a former business graduate at Iowa.
Okay.
And there's more than one Radstatter, but he's the one I hear, and I'm sure he's a businessman or something. But you got to understand, you guys. Oh, we got a donor that I think gave over $500,000. Okay, $500,000 would pay not even half of Danny Carnegie's salary.
We gave her $1 million?
Yeah, more than that. I mean, everybody wanted Danny Carnegie. The only way we'd have got her cheaper than that is she was in love with Chit Chat and Lysandra or something. I don't know, but yeah,
she was. What I was thinking. I thought they had a lot to do with her.
I've seen some ratings where she's the number 3 portal person.
Yes.
Some places say she's the number 5. I sent you that picture I wanted you to use that put up Jeloni Cambridge's stats and hers right together.
Yeah, and I mean, I have so much going on right now. I didn't have time to get it converted.
It was a black picture that
I saw it. I looked at it.
Rick made for me.
Yeah, they're pretty much even.
If you put your finger over the 2 names at the top,
it would have
been fun. No, it would have been fun to ask people, okay, this person, this is their stats, and you'll run down through the other one. Down through there. And then before you did the other one, you'd say, would this be Cambridge or would this be Carnegie?
Yeah. I can't wait to get Carnegie on the floor. It was almost equal next year. They're going to be an awesome duo.
Yeah.
And they both can score at different levels. They're both 3-level scores.
Kasheen Alexander did a great podcast with Corey the other night. She just put out the way she felt about everything that happened at Iowa and the people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And she just loves Carnegie because she is a competitor.
A lot of people. Oh, he lives south of Reistetter lives south of Iowa Falls. I delivered his mail. He's a big. Hey, Todd, I used to live in Hubbard. Did he live like between Hubbard and Iowa Falls? Because Hubbard's south of Iowa Falls. Yeah.
I think that's where Kyle McCann was from, maybe. Quarterback.
Yes. A lot of good Iowa athletes have come out of Iowa Falls. Well, not Iowa, but a lot of good athletes who went on to play major college ball came out of Iowa Falls, and namely a basketball player.
Nick Collison or who?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember Kyle McCann was a hell of a basketball player in high school. All-state guard. And he come to Iowa and was for Hayden and was Kirk's quarterback probably his last 2 or 3 years at Iowa. But what was I going to say? Oh, I want you guys to realize that billionaires give way more than $1 million or $2 million to a team.
Yeah.
Larry Ellison writes out a check for probably $50 million to Michigan and tells them, "Oh, buy a basketball team and a bunch of football players." $1 million don't buy you nothing. It's great if me and Dean could give $1 million, but we can't. But that's just what I'm saying is $1 billion is a lot of million. Remember when you had Vandy on here, and Vandy, I think he claimed, he'd have to speak for himself, but for Vanderbilt, Mark Cuban, that's his second school, and I thought he said Cuban gave him 15 or 20 million.
How come he's donating to 2 schools? Does he got kids?
Because his daughter goes to Vanderbilt.
Okay, and why is he giving to Indiana? Because he's an alum?
Yeah. He went to Pittsburgh. He grew up in Pittsburgh like Kirk did. And he went his first year to Pittsburgh. And then he transferred to Indiana. I wish he'd have transferred to Iowa. But
yeah. I just want to say, Todd says that Bruce lives up. Not that was Bruce, right? Did I say? I want to make sure I got it right. Bruce.
Brad is. I thought
Bruce
Brad
lives off of Highway 65, just before the 175 intersection, west of 65 on a gravel road. Now, this is for people that are familiar with the Iowa Falls, Hubbard, Eldora area, because that's what that little triangle is covering.
Yeah, and I don't think we
exactly where he's talking about.
I don't think we need to give out that information. If he's giving money to Iowa, leave him alone. Don't be telling people where he lives.
I just got to thinking, I wonder if he ever came into my grocery store in Hubbard, because he didn't live that far from Hubbard.
Yeah. You know, what does anybody know what he did for business? What company he ran? Or?
He's heavy into ethanol production.
Yeah. He's the only Iowa fan that made any money off agriculture. All the billionaires in Iowa, Stein and Aubaugh, who's Roundup chemicals. Stein is Stein seeds. There's like 3 or 4 billionaires in Iowa, and all of them, the only one that isn't an Iowa State guy is the guy who's a Northwestern guy, graduated Northwestern.
By the way, he lives on a private road, so even if people know where the road is, they can't get to his place.
I don't want our podcast to piss him off. That's what I was saying. Nobody'd view us again ever.
I was just trying to figure out if I actually knew who he was and if I had serviced him at our grocery store when he came in. I'm sure everybody came in at least once or twice.
Everybody that knows him, I don't talk about him because it's none of my business, but everybody that knows him that I know of, they always say that he's a really nice guy and everything. But anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So we kind of touched on baseball a little bit. They're ranked 8th. Looks like they're gonna be able to go to the Big Ten playoffs, but unless they win it, they're not going to the tournament.
The Big Ten tournament, they got to finish in the top 12. I think they got to probably. I think they probably got to win 2 games because some of them other teams could sweep somebody.
Yeah.
Or something. Like maybe could win 1 game and get into the top, stay in the top 12. I'm not sure. The women
we're
are
ahead
like
of
at number
Illinois.
12.
We took this weekend series from Illinois. We're ahead of them, and I forget who's directly in front of us, but they'll either be tied with us or 1 win better than us at the end of the day because they had a game to play yet tonight.
I was just looking at the teams that are below us that could catch us if they swept other teams or something, which is possible, but I think the Iowa women are like 12th or 13th in the Big Ten, if I remember right.
Yeah.
In softball.
Alrighty. I gotta figure out how to delete this comment.
Oh, don't read it then.
No. Oh no. He just asked me to delete it. I just gotta figure out how to do it. There we go. Delete comment. Okay. So it's out of there. It's gone.
Okay. Have we covered everything, Dean, or you want to cover something else?
Yeah, I just want to we're going to leave the nuances to Kyle and Rick on this baseball and softball thing that they want to go over. But I just want to point out that Iowa softball did end their season today. 27-27. They had the weekend series, I think against Nebraska, but lost today. I believe it was Nebraska.
So they didn't make the Big Ten tournament?
They're 7-17 and they're number 13th in the standings, so no. They missed it by 1. 7-17. So they do have a new coach this year. I don't know how good she is or anything. So
she lost a large bunch of her roster when the other coach retired. They all were eligible. Well, everybody's eligible to go in the transfer portal, but
we did last year with Molly's help. At the end of the softball season, we did interview number 17 from the team. Okay. Alrighty. So I want to. Okay.
And then Iowa Star.
Let me read these real quick. Big Citrus says, "I don't want to be a millionaire, just a Hawks fan." Good. Okay. Big Citrus says, "I wonder if all those donors are thinking when kids take the money and gamble."
There's a subject that came up this week. Mr. Sorsby, who was supposed to be some great quarterback that was at Indiana, and then he went to Cincinnati, and now he's at Oklahoma State, is it?
I thought it was Tennessee Tech or something like that.
No, he's at a big school.
That's what I said, Tennessee Tech.
Tennessee Tech is not a big football school.
Not Tennessee Tech, Texas Tech.
Okay, Texas Tech, and they said he's making over $5 million this year.
Yeah.
And anyway, he probably will not play because he's bet on hundreds of games that he played in, and now everybody knows about it. And
okay, so my question is, I don't know, when did he transfer to Texas Tech? This year?
This year. He's never played there yet.
Okay, so Cincinnati's the one that's going to have to take some issue with that.
They're going to have to give up losses probably, unless the NCAA don't treat them like they do Iowa. But
nobody, NCAA doesn't treat any school like they treat Iowa.
I hear you.
Just look at the history of all the rulings that gone against.
But I'm glad that guy brought up gambling, because that was a big story this week, and it, to me, I know I'm not old fashioned at all. I really ain't. But people call me old fashioned because I think gambling is like the ruination of America. When Dean, I don't know how long ago. Was it 25 years ago? The only 2 states where you could gamble were Nevada and New Jersey.
Yes.
That was the only 2 states you could gamble in, and New Jersey and Nevada were ruled by gangsters and the mafia. And then all these politicians, ever since the politicians nowadays, we can't tax a billionaire, So we got to get poor people addicted to gambling, build casinos, have all this apps, and we'll get some tax money out of all them bets so we don't have to tax billionaires. That's their damn thinking. And it's ruining. There's going to be point shaving. There already is that we don't know about. You know, there's going to be officials bought. And these damn kids, it's a rule. You cannot bet on sports if you're a college athlete.
Yes.
You know, and it's the rule. I hate it when our country goes backwards. And this is just, I know a lot of people in real life that have gambling habits and they gamble away their paychecks.
Yeah.
And
well,
stuff.
Big Citrus
And
says if they make every athlete ineligible who's gambling on campus, there might not be anybody left.
I don't know.
I think there's a point to that. I don't think they're all gambling, but I think I know where he's getting at.
I think we got about that year that they got Iowa, a few kids. What was it? 4 of them for Iowa. The kicker and Noah Shannon and Arlen Bruce. Arlen Bruce never played again. You know, I don't think that kicker ever played again.
None of them ever played again. None of them.
But I bet you they caught about everybody that was on that Iowa team that was gambling. I will bet you after that. I bet you there ain't very many kids at Iowa that are touching any gambling things. Could be wrong. Could be surprised, but.
Big Citrus says that 70% of college students have admitted to it. That's college students. Are you talking college athletes also? Okay. Citrus, I like this one because I remember this. Back in my day, the big thing was bootlegging Coors into beer into Iowa. I remember when you couldn't get it into Iowa.
When I hate to admit it, but when I was in high school, a lot of kids had drug problems. I was grown. I grew up on a farm where there was no alcohol in the house or anything. And if somebody would have pulled out some weed, I'd have ran the other direction. Let alone cocaine or amphetamines. But that was a big problem in the 70s into the 80s in small town Iowa, you know, but.
Okay. Todd says, Dean, the Conrad grocery store and NewaCare pharmacy closed. I had heard that the people who bought the store from Linden ran it into the ground, and then the new people that bought it from the people that bought it from Linden ran it even further into the ground. That's just too bad. That's too bad because I helped build that store. I worked there as an assistant manager, and I helped. Before I went to the Hubbard store, I helped that store become successful, and we were very proud of the way we served Conrad. Anyway,
I grew up in a very thriving town of Mechanicsville, Iowa. Always around for 150 years. We've been right around 1,000 people. Mm-hmm. Don't go up much, don't go down much. And when I was a kid, that little town had 3 or 4 grocery stores in it. Locally owned grocery stores. Can you imagine that, Dean? We had so many people living out in the country come in. And then when Walmarts came in and started grocery stores, all the hardware stores disappeared in town. All the grocery stores, they didn't have any business anymore. Yeah. And that's probably the same reason that store you were talking about there. Everybody goes to the big old Walmart or whatever.
Hy-Vee.
Yep.
Okay. Big Citrus, I like this question. I'm gonna answer, and I'm gonna give you a chance to answer it. Mm-hmm. Do you ever foresee a time when Iowa will field a women's flag football team and a men's hockey team? We don't officially have a men's hockey team, but we have a club hockey team. Just like we have a club rugby team, neither one of those two are official NCAA teams because of what do they call that prop rule? Prop 9 or whatever it's called? That makes
Proposition 9, Title 9.
Yeah, Title IX. Yeah, that's the one that
Mhm.
makes that's what's going to keep us getting hockey and of course, the cost of the hockey to field the hockey team. I'm
There
sure that the
won't be
guys that are on the club team are fielding a lot of their own costs.
to
Women's
to
flag
answer
football, I could see that coming. I could see that coming. I would love to see that.
to answer his question. The only growth in sports at the Big Ten or any level, Division I level, is going to be in women's, not men's,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
because of NIL and Title IX.
yeah,
Title IX's why we got Vivian Stringer, and Title IX's why we got Beth Beglin and all them women's sports at Iowa just exploded because Christine Grant, girl from Iowa, her and Pat Head Summit were the driving force behind Title IX. And thank
yeah.
God for that. I love women's sports.
Me too, because I had 3 daughters who all played sports.
Mhm.
I learned to love women's sports.
Hey, I
Watching
got
my
a
daughters
question
play.
for if Big Orange is still on there. I got a question. Hey, Big Orange, what do you think about the team that drafted you in the NFL draft? That's
I
Big
don't get
Citrus.
it. I don't get it.
Big.
First of all, it's
That's
citrus,
big.
and you're calling him orange.
I know, but his
It could
real
be
last
grapefruit.
name,
It could be
Big,
grapefruit. Could be
big,
tangerine.
the Big
Tangelo.
Citrus, the Big Citrus guy from Iowa State who got drafted in the second round. His last name is Orange.
Oh, okay.
So I was joking that was him talking on a Hawkeye podcast. But
He's a Vikings fan.
okay,
He lives in Tampa. He's a Vikings fan. He lives in Tampa. So yes, I'm good with it. I love it. I love that these guys can take a little joking. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big Citrus, are you an Iowa fan, or are you just living in Florida and enjoying the Hawkeye broadcast tonight? Okay. I don't have much else to talk about tonight. I pretty much went down everything. This would
if we signed off, we could have a podcast that was not 2.5 hours long. Be an hour and 47 minutes. So.
Yeah. Okay. Wait a minute. Boy has another comment. Okay. Okay. Where are the other 2 bums at tonight? Well, Boy, I said at the beginning of the show, they've got some other obligations tonight. They both have family things going on. Or maybe I say that at the beginning? Maybe I didn't.
I don't know, but we've had other bums on too. I don't know which 2 they're talking about.
By the way, I do want to say, I'm going to guess within a week, by this time next week, Paul will have rejoined the podcast. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's really anxious to get back. He's really anxious, and I don't know if it'll be this time next week, but he's coming back really soon, guys. So those
would be nice to have. It'd be nice to have an intelligent man on here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. This Big Citrus says I was formerly known as Toll House. Okay. Born and raised in Waterloo, Grudge. Okay. He changed his name from Toll House. This is the guy who was Toll House on the podcast.
He's the one that I kept saying, I love your cookies, like that when he'd come.
Yeah. So. All right. Sorry, Big Citrus. I wish you'd have told us that from the beginning.
And he was from Waterloo, huh?
Yeah. Fellow Waterlooan.
Mm-hmm.
Fellow Waterlooan. Okay. Yeah. Oh, can we discuss the 5-5 rule real quick? How first of all, it's going to be enacted if it hasn't already. They've already NCAA has already announced that there will be no grandfathering in. So Hannah can't come back, Taylor McCabe can't come back, Bennett Sturts can't come back and take those 5th years. So that's too bad. There are no exceptions for medical red shirts or anything like that. You just 5-5. If you're hurt for 2 years, you lose out. No big deal. I do want to point out though that Kenise Johnson is officially listed as a junior because she, I think she's actually a senior, but she's a junior, and I don't know how this affects her, but I read an article where they said that she picked a school, Delaware, she's going to, but could possibly get medical redshirt for the year that she missed. But that, if they're going to put that on current players, unless she already had the medical redshirt, I do not think that she can do that. I don't think she can go back and claim a medical redshirt. If she's listed as a junior, she's got 2 more years of eligibility and she's done.
We have, they're not going to put the 5-and-5 rule in until the college starts in the fall. So that'll kick out all these players like Hannah and all them. So
okay, but I thought they said that every player playing this current season coming up will be affected by that.
We got I was looking. It affects every single one, everybody that's playing basketball at Iowa next year, that they can come back for another year.
Yep.
And only affects. I was looking at the football roster. Out of our seniors this fall, it only affects one guy. Everybody else has
already played their 5 years.
There's only one guy. There's only one guy who played as a true freshman, and that's transfer Bryce Stevenson, who hasn't played it down yet for Iowa. But good news, he can play 2 years now instead of this being his last year. So
yeah, okay. Big Citrus said that the girlfriend thought the Toll House sounded like he was fat, and he goes, and I am that. Okay. Mm-hmm. He wants to know how that 5-year thing will do with the Mormons, because as you know, they start college later because they're on a mission trip when they're 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, I don't know. Under religious grounds, they might, people are going to sue.
Mm-hmm.
Already that Sorsby that was gambling, he's already sued under some grounds. But he should be able to play with it.
Boy said he missed the beginning of the show. He doesn't always know when the show is on. Boy, if you send me a messenger, private messenger from Facebook, I will make sure that you get to know about 30 minutes before each show comes on. I send out notices about 30 minutes ahead of time. I will make sure you know in the future. Okay. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to make sure I got that out there.
Well, you're getting along good with your legs today, Dean.
Yeah, I stood up for most of the show, though, but I have been sitting down for the second part of the show. So anyway, I do not have anything else. So I would think, and if the guys join us, we'll probably do a little more in depth of what's going on with the baseball team at least. The softball team season is done. They're not going to be playing anymore this year. And so that's sad.
I got 2 other things real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
One, they also came out with seedings for the men. They did a couple weeks ago, and Iowa wasn't even in the NCAA tournament in the men. And then they came out with one this week, and Iowa was going to be a 6th seed in the men. And then the other thing I want to point out is NFL drafts, these mock drafts for next year are coming out. And one today that popped up, Pieper was going to be the 18th guy picked in a draft as a center. And the other 2 I seen, both had Lutmer and Lauk in the first round. So that's all I wanted to say. So.
I wonder what the record is for Iowans, people from Hawkeyes being drafted in the first round. How many in
3.
the first round? 3 is the record?
Chuck Long, Ronnie Harmon, and Mike Haight.
Okay. Big Citrus says, he goes, I saw Iowa men were first in golf in the Big Ten. Good.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you'd be especially interested in that because you're a better golfer than I am. You're more serious about it.
But I don't follow Big Ten golf. I knew that Illinois has been really good in Big Ten golf the last few years. And then Iowa had a guy that was like almost NCAA champion or something. He was real young, but he took the NIL and went to Georgia or Florida or someplace where you could play golf where it's warm all year. I know Brad Heinrichs, who was an Iowa golfer, he was kind of upset that the kid left, but
okay.
Couldn't blame him. He got to play on these real good courses down south, and that was a couple of years ago.
But who doesn't want to play on Finkbine?
That guy, Jack Nicklaus.
I love Finkbine.
I've never played it.
It's very hard course. If you're a duffer like me, it's probably not recommended.
If you're just a duffer, most courses are hard.
Well, no, I can handle some courses.
Okay.
But honestly, because of my eyesight and I don't have depth of field anymore, I just figured out I really can't play golf anymore. I was struggling, so I started playing only 4-man best shots tournaments with my buddies because we can always use a few of my plays. But now I found out without the depth of field, I was driving the wedge or the club into the ground too much.
Yeah, I never really enjoyed best ball that much because I wanted to know what my score was, and I wanted to know how good I was doing. If I could be under 80, shoot a 78 or something. Yeah. I shot par once on a nice long course. But and that was just a day where everything was
right. Weather,
everything was good.
Greens were great. Grass was cut perfect.
The worst thing a golfer can do is hit one bad shot and not forget about it.
Yeah.
Because then it bothers you on your next shot. So
yeah, you have to. It's partly mental. It's a lot of mental. If you got the basics down, it's all mental. The one thing I like about it, I love playing on those hard courses where the ground is just rock solid because I don't drive the ball that far. So if I can get the ball going, it'll bounce a few more yards for me.
I hated golf courses where the fairways were hard. It's like you go to hit the ball and your club bounces off the ground instead of hitting it and making a nice divot and stuff. But
okay, kicker from North Dakota State, I believe, is that missed their easy field goal. Did we talk about that tonight?
We talked about it the last show a week ago. They talked about Kyle and Rick talked about the specialists that they weren't very impressed with special teams or anything. But I think we got two good kickers myself. He was 7 out of 11.
Yeah.
He was
By
7
the way,
out of 11.
I don't like listening to myself talk, so I don't always play these back to listen. But the last two shows I was missing a lot, so I went back to hear what you guys had to say. You guys did okay. You don't need me.
That last show is the only one I didn't listen to in entirety afterwards, and it was just because I got sick and then I was busy doing other things. So that's the only one I didn't go back and listen to.
All right, guys, we'll be back Wednesday night. Maybe not. I forgot. My grandson's flying in Wednesday afternoon, so we might have to do this show Thursday or Tuesday, but we'll do one. Wednesday's out.
It's like the old. It's like the old joke. Your grandson will come in and he said, "Where's he flying from, Dean?"
Iowa. He lives in Des Moines.
He'll say, "Grandpa, I just flew in from Iowa, and boy, are my arms tired."
I just hope he doesn't have a lot of flight issues getting here. Because with the TSA thing, they've suspended all operations at TSA and stuff like that. That could cause a lot of problems.
Not to prolong the show because I've been ready to get off for a half hour, but what's the price of gas now in California?
Okay, right here in Bakersfield, the average is $5.99 a gallon. Yeah, and I only know that because the local show, the local radio show I listen to in the morning, they update us every day. Last week it was $5.88 a gallon, but this week it's $5.99.
Well, the price of oil went up 15% this week. But anyway, and I asked you because I wrote a post on gas prices, like in February in 2025, gas got down to 221, and then it went up, and then a couple months later, it got back down to 231. And I don't buy a lot of gas because I don't travel, but I drive over into Iowa. It's cheaper. Get it at the same place, get the same type of gas, and this week it was $3.95. So from 230 to 395, that's up 70%. 70, I think it was 72% when I did my math in my head.
Yeah.
72% up and 72% up in less than 2 months.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
$3.95 is what I paid before this war started. And that's when the gas
I
prices started
I
taking off.
understand that. I understand there's a big difference in gas prices in each region of the country. You know?
Well, we taxed ourselves to the max here in California, which is why we pay some of the highest gas prices in the nation. We also, yeah, I don't know. Don't get me started on our governor and why we're paying so much gas taxes.
Well, I'd vote for him over the guy we got. I said something political. Another thing that figures into gas, the gas price, is how close you are to the oil. You know, like if you're in Texas or something, that's where all the oil is refined. You got to be close to the refineries. So many of those refineries are around the Gulf Coast. They got to build more refineries, you know.
Hey, listen, right here in Bakersfield, we're an oil magnet. We have all kinds of oil here. We refine it here. We bring it out of the ground here. And we pay, we're one of the highest cities in states. And I think the sad thing about it here is we may pump it from here and refine it here, but we ship it out. We don't keep it for ourselves.
China being you're closest to China, they aren't going to go through the Suez Canal or around South America and go get it from the Gulf area. They're going to get their oil refined from Nebraska, Alaska, and the West Coast, you know. So I bet the people selling it there where you're at,
well, here
they'll get an extra 10 cents a gallon and to sell it to China, you know.
I might have to get some petroleum stock. Big Citrus says he pays $4.29 where he's living, but his petroleum stocks have been skyrocketing.
You know what stock has skyrocketed?
What?
Casey's, because they make so much money per gallon of gas. They've went from right under $600 a share since the war started, right under $600 a share, and I think this week they got close to $900.
Wow,
you know, just in those 2 months.
Yeah. Okay, I can't say this name. Guancocos. The longer you're around, the easier it will be to get interviews. Well, I've been doing this 4 years, and we'll be starting season 5 in August. So,
well, most people just, if you ask somebody for an interview that's somewhat famous, you know, they're gonna go on Doctorman, Listico, Kakert.
Yeah.
And if they're busy, they're not going to go on 10 different podcast, and they don't know us. You know, they don't know this. Who is this Kelvin Fisher character? Who is this Dean?
Well,
Dean.
we're gonna start with Matt Randazzo. By the way, our videos get more views than his does, but we're gonna start with him and make it work, and go from there.
That'll help to get him when you brag that your viewers are more than him.
I would never say that to his face, ever. He's more famous than we are, though, because he's on 5 days a week. Plus, he's guest on everybody else's show.
most people in the state of Iowa, other than in my local community here, had no idea who Matt Randazzo was.
And they learned this year. They learned this
until
year
we got that job with the University of Iowa.
Yeah, when he does the pregame shows for football now.
Yeah, and I think Tom
doing it before because I missed that guy.
Before that,
yeah,
Ed Podolak was in the anger position.
Yeah.
I don't know who.
Was it Brooks?
Was
it Brooks who did the pregame show?
Rob Brooks, maybe it was. He reported from the sidelines. Rob Brooks is really good at what he does, but I don't remember, Dean. That's my answer. And we're gonna have a 2.5 hour show. So go ahead.
We're gonna get out of here, but I also want to read these last of these comments. Big Citrus says he also owns Casey stock and a lot of pipeline stock. Boy says he likes my haircut. Thank you for noticing. And Boy also loves Casey's. I love Casey's breakfast pizza. Nobody makes a breakfast pizza like Casey's.
You don't. The only reason you ever buy any gas from Casey's is because the next gas station's too far away.
You don't like buying gas at Casey's, I take it.
Their gas is higher priced. That's why Casey stock jumped. They used to get a profit margin of like 12 cents a gallon. Yeah. And then the CEO, because he wanted to build new stores all over the Midwest, which he has in the other states, he raised it to 45 cents. So we call it the Casey's tax. Yeah. And I think he's raised it some more.
Well, another reason why, too, is a lot of times they're in the small rural communities where they're the only gas station in that community, like Hubbard, so they can pretty much charge what they want.
Tipton, Iowa was like that. Their Casey's in Tipton, Iowa will literally be 10, 15 cents more than the next town up the road, like Clarence or Mechanicsville, because they know, but everybody knows good enough at math and knows that, well, I can't. I'm not going to drive 20 miles to
I know this is a Hawkeye show. I do like Casey's, but I prefer Quick Star and their food better. Although Casey has better pizza than Quick Star, but the rest of their food is far superior to Casey's.
I get all my gas at Quick Star. I love Casey's food better, but I don't know. Yeah. Don't matter.
Yeah. Every time I go to Waterloo and Cedar Falls, I always stop at the Casey's on Highway 20 and in Cedar Falls, and I can't think of the name of the cross street anymore. But it turns into a freeway headed north toward Waverly. Okay. Casey's used to be pretty competitive, according to Boy. We turned this into a dissertation on gas stations, it looks like.
Starting about 4 years ago is when that changed, And the manager at the Casey's where I live told me that. She goes, we got a new edict that we're supposed to charge this more for gas than what we pay for it.
Yeah, I left Iowa 7.5 years ago, and every time I've gone back, I always make sure I get at least one day of Casey's pizza, the breakfast pizza. But I will tell you, they've changed the recipe. It's not the same. And I asked the lady in Marshalltown if that was the case. I said, this doesn't taste the same when I left. And I said, did you guys change the recipe? And she goes, yes, we did. She goes, and not for the good.
You left 7 years ago, and the state has never recovered.
I know it. I left in 2018. So
the only thing that keeps doing good in those years is Kirk Ferentz and the football team.
Yeah, this Labor Day will be my 8th year anniversary. We rolled in on Labor Day in 2018 with the U-Haul and hauling my car behind it. Big Citrus left in 2004. Yeah, Big Citrus. I had just moved back to Iowa in 2000 and left again in 2018.
I just moved a mile and a half out of Iowa into Rock Island. I still consider myself an Iowan, but I love Rock Island. It's a great place to live. So,
guys, in the coming months, you're going to see a change to this podcast because we are moving probably around July 1st.
finally getting rid of Kelvin.
I no longer have a podcast studio after this.
I was going to say, finally going to get rid of Kelvin.
I might be sitting outdoors on the front porch doing it. We'll see.
I don't think people tune in to see our faces, you know? I think they just want to.
That's what I tell people. You know, there's nothing really to see. And so just put it on your car radio when you're commuting to work and listen to it on the way to work, pick it up after work and listen to the rest of it. Mm-hmm. Big Citrus says he got divorced and moved to Alaska. About 8 years now, you've been gone. Yep, close to it. I've been gone. But we come back. We've come back at least once a year. We've come back at least once a year since we've left. So we've always come back for a reason, usually during football season.
We got 2 hours and 10 minutes there, Dean.
I know it. I tried that.
I tried we were going to do a short one. But you love viewers' questions.
Yeah, I thought with you and me we could go quicker tonight, but I knew wrong. I should have realized.
We were done in an hour and a half, and then all these people which had questions, which is fine.
Yeah, we love it. We love your comments. We love your questions. And even if you change the subject, that's okay too. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. See you Tuesday or Thursday. I will let you guys know. We're not going to go Wednesday. I want to spend time with my grandson because he's driving back to Iowa on Thursday morning. So I want to spend as much time with him as I can. All righty, guys. We're going to get out of here. And peace out. Go Hawks. And we will be back, or at least I will be, if any emergency happens during that we need to know about. Bye.